All right, we're back on. So here's what I want you to do. For video purposes, notice that like here's kind of where you were, where like see how the bell comes up high, but my hips never come through. I want the bell to go to the same height, but because you're raising hips, extending hips and raising rib cage, and you have connection, so the bell comes to there instead of the bell getting there because I lifted it.
Yeah, I can feel it in my forearms a lot more than I
Oh,
feel it in my
very
hips, my hamstrings.
So like how we solve that at home is you put that kettlebell in between your feet again, and don't hit the kettlebell with this kettlebell. Because I guarantee you, if I would have put that there, you would hit it really over and over and over. So now I'm getting height, but I have connection here. Right? See that versus this?
Yep.
And now it's on a true pendulum. So my knees easily kick backwards. And that bell is very high off the ground.
Okay.
Your turn. Feel free to not switch hands every swing.
Yeah, I was gonna actually say, so I can get the
Yeah.
rhythm on it,
Yep.
and not have to think about it.
Good breathing. Much better. Switch hands. Maybe like every 4 reps switch. That way you're not dying out too quickly. And set her down. All right, we're gonna keep the video rolling.
Boy, that's a order of magnitude more.
Yeah.
At 8.
Yeah, you see where the kettlebell, or not kettlebell, the conditioning, cardiovascular.
Yeah.
All right, so a towel, basic washcloth.
You think that was better? The second go?
That second set was better, yes. Now, we're gonna drop 4 kilos off of it in video. Now focus on that. Give me about 15 swings on left hand, set it down, switch towel arms, 15 on the other.
So can I fold it up like this?
Oh, no, keep it. Yeah. I was like, ah.
Funny guy.
You got me on that. That was good. Yes, there you go.
How much weight is that?
12 kilo.
Okay.
Correct. 15 reps.
Whoops. Already lost it, huh?
That's fine. 5 more. The intent is great. Connection is there, you're extending your hips. It looks so much different. Good, set her down like switch arms with that towel.
This stuff, you watch guys doing this on YouTube, and I'm sure they're doing the same thing. You just don't notice the nuance.
Yeah. go, it slows you down. It makes the motion so much more quality. Reach back. Three more.
You try and snap your hips forward?
No. But you never want to feel like, it's called hard style, or now what was that other kettlebell organization called? RKC. Yeah, they were very, it was never my favorite. But it's just a different intent of using the kettlebell. That was really good. So let's add towel into your home practice. Right? And just you replace it. Like Mondays you do towel drill, Wednesdays you do kettlebell on the ground, don't hit the kettlebell. You just kind of blend. Just kind of giving you more tools that are quality tools. This one is 8. These are both 8.
Yes.
Yeah. This is literally just magnets.
Yeah. Actually, those kettlebells.
Huh?
I noticed a chip was falling out. Look at those 4 raised areas.
Yeah.
I called the manufacturer. He's going to send me 2 rings. Because I'm swinging this, chip flew out. I've got it now. It's centered.
You got to really be mindful of where you're
Yeah, I don't want to have to deal with that.
No, and that's,
Especially if you lifting the thing overhead.
yeah, calm. And let's use that one for your rack position exercise now. So, next thought, the intent for this drill is we're going to do 2 swings, 1, 2, and then on 3, clean and catch. Okay? We're going to have 2 intents on this. One is, as you are swinging, I want you to think that you are reaching behind you to find something. You're going like, oh, there it is, and then come back up. So it's going to exaggerate pushing the knees and deepening the swing. So it makes it to where, like, if we put 60 seconds on time, you'd get less swings in this set than you would previous sets. Because you're lengthening the distance that a swing is thought to be, thus slowing down the rep count. Let's try it. Do about 10 and then switch arms. All you're thinking about is there's something way back behind you that you're trying to reach. That was a good thing to have happen right there. Good. Straighten these. Yep. There you go.
Good one.
So do 2 full swings. There's 1. There's 2. Nope. So the next one you clean. 1, 2, and clean.
What is closer? Causing friction.
Yeah. I'd love you to not wear the gloves.
How about the armbands? You want me to learn to get tempered and just deal with it until I.
Yes. Yeah.
I want to learn at least until I have the movement. I won't say down, but.
Yeah. What you could do, hold on. What you could do is, how I would temper is just rack holds. You could wear them right now for like dynamics, where every 7 seconds you're hitting. Whereas rack holds, you literally are just holding for 2 minutes and letting it just kind of compress gently. But during dynamics early on.
The other thing, I was doing rack squats the other day.
Oh, here.
And it's constant pressure. You definitely want that.
Yeah. It's funny because you do get used to it. Just a matter of if you want to get used to it.
You know, like the video you did.
Yeah.
170 24 kilo with bare arm. I mean, that your arm had to be dying.
Not really. Like, it's more of this. Like rack holds, like those the double orange, the 28s. You know, that's where like near the end of the set, this is what's bothering me.
Going on a long cycle.
Yeah. But no, I mean like on rack holds or just jerk only, where you never get out of this position. You know, like snatching, you're always getting to change positions. Long cycle, you get to change positions constantly. But like jerk only, it just presents a whole other issue. Like there's something about constant pressure on your wrist to where it just doesn't bother it. And you just kind of, and years and thousands of hours of doing it.
Yeah.
That was the least of my concern, is my forearms getting painful. That didn't bother me. All right, let's give it a shot. Reach through the hole. Nice. Yeah, I think ditch the gloves completely. But that's fine. Just another nice push. Good. Yeah, we're gonna work on the downswing today. Keep going.
That was a good one.
Good. Hold there. Every repetition, bring that hand under, right at your throat. Close, bring it there. That's going to be important here in a second. Rest, there we go. Oh, this is going to be good. Last one on this arm. Bring it over. Yep. So if it's here, pressure is like this, you're a banana and you're peeling. When you start to peel the banana more, you're losing technique. So the closer you can keep this weight to your midline, the better.
It's over my structure instead of my shoulder.
Exactly.
carrying it.
Yeah. Like this happened with long cycle a lot. You rest. Once you lose, like your foundation is good strong glutes, stomach muscles, and then having that S to where one handle's on top of the other, you're in the best situation you can be in. What happens is
Everything's center on mass.
right. So like, take the clip out for me, just to be official. So go into rack position with those. Double rack. And we'll turn, get them up there and then turn to the camera. Okay, so now turn that way so we can see. So what will happen over time is those need to be as stacked as possible.
Okay.
As you fatigue over time, you'll start exactly, and then this position happens with the hands. You're holding them like this versus like this.
It does put more pressure on your forearm to hold it closer.
But from a standpoint of being able to handle like double 12s for 5 minutes, just hypothetical numbers. Once those handles are no longer stacked, you are falling quickly off a cliff of being able to withstand the energy it takes to lift appropriately. So, because then this leads to this versus this, and it all falls apart. All right, let's talk. The other intent of the clean today was talking about how to get out of clean. So if I'm here, if I'm gonna now do a downswing, the idea is instead of dropping and following it, I want to create as much lag as possible, right? So I want this arm to unwind to here before I break at the waist. And then go to here. Okay? So what you've been doing, I'll try to do it in slow motion, is you kind of hike it forward with your upper body, catch it, and then go through. All that's doing is creating space here, a drop of a weight here that directly relates to the lumbar spine. Okay? So this is you.
Yep.
And you're trying to manufacture
That
a
is
proper
me.
knee action.
Yep.
This is me. So as soon as that arm is straight, I'm still way back here with my upper body. Equating to minimal pressure on my back versus this. You know, where's the fulcrum now? Where's the fulcrum now? And what's the moment arm? Pretty heavy here, pretty light here. So, there's a little bit, this is where it gets tricky. There's a little bit of a knee bend to initiate the downswing. Boom, push. Dip, we call this a dip, not a squat. Dip, and then I push, going back this way with my legs, really subtly, which then initiates a thoracic elevation, which then pushes my elbow forward and goes back to handshake position here on the way down. But I'm spreading. So as the weight goes that way, my elbow unlocks and opens that door. I'm leaning away from that door, opening. Think about it as active and passive. So
You would think that'd be kind of a little automatic.
yeah,
For you to keep your body in balance. You know,
Yeah.
it starts coming out here, so you start leaning back a little bit
yeah.
to counter that weight.
So I think, and this is where having the heavier weights is good. We'll just stop and talk for a second here for video purposes. You go back and watch these.
Yeah.
Yeah, great. So that's where, like, I taught a lot of Olympic weightlifting as well, and it's the same thing. Like sometimes if the weight is too light, it's hard to get the athlete to work the proper drill because the sensation doesn't bring out a subconscious need to do the drill. Make sense?
Yeah.
Like if it needs to be heavy to get you to force yourself to drop on
Like
yourself.
that counterbalance.
Right. So like,
If I was with a 16, I didn't think it'd be.
yeah, you wouldn't want to follow a 16 because you'd be like, this is gonna hurt my back as you follow it. So you unwind away from it to here, and then it's straight, and you've already decelerated the weight here. So instead of having two levers, this and this, that lever's done, then you can start this lever. And then you shift it to the knee lever to kick the knees back, and then boom, you're right back up here. But
I'm gonna need that.
yeah, yeah. So, but that is the case. Is like, so let's have you go here, and all you're working on is I'm in this position here. I've leaned back. My glutes are tight, and then I just do that little knee bounce and kick away. Do the knee bend and then come back up. Dip and come back up the surface and lean back as you release the belt. Fall back. Yes.
Oh.
So that was ugly, but mechanically it was correct. Correct. But of course, now we're introducing something new. You're forgetting two other things from,
Breathing,
which is fine,
arm swing.
which is every other kettlebell athlete that I've ever worked with. You added one more thing, you lose the last thing back here. And then over the next 2 weeks of you practicing, it all comes back together. Teaching you has been like teaching the other 150 people that I've taught. I add one more little thing because now it looks solid. So now let's do something a little bit more complex, and then you forget about this thing down here. The knee bend, or the exhale at the right time, or the pronation of the hand, you know, or the pinch of the finger to the thumb. Yeah. So you'll like that on video. I like that. Dip and then fall back. That was good. That bell was so high through your legs. The thing about the higher the kettlebell is off the ground through your legs on the downswing, the least amount of stress there is on your body. If that thing scrapes the ground, you are working way harder than you need to. Do one more for me. Good. Perfect. Okay. Wow. So now that has now exposed something else that we need to work on.
Okay.
I'll use yours.
My little baby ones.
Yeah.
They always say men should start with 12 and women should start with 8s.
I know, that is always
I'm
there.
doing 8s.
So I'll face this way for video's sake. When you this is fine. So that dip and then you fall away from it, right? You very coachable. You did well on that. You what I saw was dip and then push, and your head goes this way while the kettlebell goes this way. Now, what went wrong and what's easily correctable is instead of going there with the hand, so for video purposes, what he does is he pushes and the elbow goes high and he goes into this overhand grip through the legs to get to pronation. Okay, so that's good, you're doing that. What I want you to do is essentially unfold the hand to here. So imagine there's an imaginary kettlebell here. I'm going to dip and then go here instead of here.
Okay.
So watch this hand with the bell.
What was I doing?
So I'm going palm up, you're going palm down.
You gotta get the palm up.
Sure. Still have plenty of time to pronate right here.
Yep.
You get the thumb first. You're going that. What's wrong with that? No connection. We've lost connection here, big time, versus connection the whole time.
Not to mention stressing the elbow.
Well, yeah, and that's the whole point of connection is to protect against irritating tendons, joints, up and down the body. So you hold here, and then just slowly let the waterfall happen to, please give me some money, like hand right there, facing up, and then let the swing happen from there. A big boulder coming off the mountainside. It starts out really slow, slow, slow. Good, hold. Yeah. Go as slow as you can as you lean back. Don't worry about the knee thing. Just unfold the hand. Correct. And you see how then at the last second it just kind of whoop. That's it. Oh, that was back to the original. Correct. 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 because when you watch this back, you're going to see all this is tight. You're not diving, you're not casting, so everything is as protected as possible. Oh, good, you felt it. Yes, yes.
No, do you see my phone down there?
I do not. Yeah. Yes. That was your best one. I want to make that on video.
All right.
That one that you just did. Put
Am
that
I
down.
leaning back or?
Yeah. I thought you were. The
That's-
flow with
I
that.
thought if I was using a heavier bell, it'd be easier to get that.
Sure. Yeah. I would argue that point. In the affirmative. Yeah, you just leaned forward a little too early. Connection was good, but still too much pressure on back. Unfold. That was really good. Not perfect, but really good. Very coachable, Michael. Very coachable. Too far out. That was really good.
I lean back on that one.
That was really good. The depth of the swing sucked, but that was secondary to what we want. Oh, there you go. You're letting your Russian self come out now. Very good. Comrade Skiba. Yeah, just forgetting the last mechanic of the swing with the knees. Oof. Let's take a break. Or go to the left hand, one or the other. Those last two were trending in the wrong direction. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Good. Take a break. Okay. That's gonna come along in the next 10 days. I'm gonna take a knee. Okay, so I'll face this way. So I'm gonna use right hand. So you do a lot of single arm practice at home, which is what I want you to do and what you should do. Every time you clean it, this is a little off topic, but every time you clean it, most of the time it's not a perfect hand insertion, primarily because of the newness of the exercise. You know, like a couple months old versus 5 years of doing it. It's a little bit like that. It's a little too perpendicular for my liking. The other piece is two things. One, still new. Two, the wrist wrap's getting away. But take your other hand before you continue what you're doing, whether it's pressing or swinging or squatting, and take your other hand and just shift it. So for camera, if it's here, I just kind of take this bell and tweak it and push my hand to an even deeper position. So now my hand's even further through the handle. See the subtle difference between that and then that. So then it creates a little muscle memory of when you clean it, it's going to end up going there more often.
I'm gonna try some of that.
Yeah, try some of that. You'll love it and hate it at the same time. See what I mean?
I think that's pretty good, isn't it?
Oh yeah, that's good.
Yeah, I think it's wrist wraps. Well,
Those are actually those are, what do you call them, thin, but not as thick as,
well, they have a hard shell.
they have a little sleeve in them.
And you feel hard
Yeah,
shell.
yeah. We used to have some, Kettle Guard was the brand. They had these 3 sleeves where you could add a single, like three long, like they look like fingers. 1, 2, 3. Then you could even double layer, two shields. But that ended up bothering me even more. When I try that out, so this hand has to be here. Your thumb has to touch your t-shirt in order for this whole thing to work. That's perfect. And then looking at angle from elbow to tarsal bone of the pinky.
Yep.
That needs to be 12 to 1. We haven't even begun to talk about how to prepare the t-shirt.
Prepare the t-shirt.
It's a whole thing. There's probably a YouTube video somewhere about it, but what you do is wear a t-shirt like that, a nice full cotton t-shirt, kind of heavy. Take a water bottle and spray it to soak it with water from here to here, and then take chalk and chalk up your arm. And when that chalk meets the water, it's a thickening agent, and you stick. So you watch those videos of me doing those jerks. This is all wet and white mixture of chalk and water. So when I sit here, I'm not getting this sliding effect, because that requires more work to constantly lift and put back. Yeah. Then I wear a belt, and then you untuck your t-shirt out of the belt a little bit to where there's a lip. The shirt going over the belt, and there's a little small lip.
You can rest on it.
And I have mobility for days, like this. Whereas if this is all you can do, you're gonna have a rough time with kettlebell. But if you can get here and have a small t-shirt lip over a belt and the water and chalk, you start, and I used to just walk around like this with, double 32s. Just because you feel the weight, trust me. It's 150 pounds just sitting on you, walking around. But you don't feel the weight because your arms are sliding. You just feel the axial pressure, this constant sinking.
Yeah.
You're resisting sinking.
But you're not getting it on the shoulders.
Right.
Very much.
Yeah, the last thing that
You have
really
to
bothers
get this up.
Yeah. So that was good. Let's keep going now without the guards. See if you can handle that. Go to the 12 without the guard. So go to my navy blue in there. Do the same drill. Maybe about 5 or 6 cleans where you use the other hand to position it where you want it. And then work your down swing mechanics.
Okay.
Good. Keep going. Right. 3.
They're good or not?
Find the dip and you fell forward way too soon. Losing the knee kick back. Last 3 in a row, you've just kind of done this and then back up versus that. And that's, see how the wrist is already bent? So you got to reposition to get your hand through it to where you can cut this. Yeah, that versus this. You start getting here.
You don't want to do this.
Oh yeah, that shit. Now that shit hurts. Good rack position, but you pronated here, so elbow casted versus unfolding here. That's good. You'll watch all this back.
God.
Time. Rest. It's a lot. Stay great.
Definitely.
Well, outers.
Part of the game.
Yeah. So the other thing that I'm seeing, do you like me just constantly throwing in more drops of water?
I don't mind because I got that.
Yeah, so you decompress it later. So, on all those cleans, your swing mechanics were fine, the knees weren't doing great, but your pronation and up was good. When you go to clean it, now we're talking up clean. So you're, trying to insert. Your hand stays closed the entire time. Okay, so you swing. See how my hand stayed where it fixated?
I wasn't opening up.
Not at all.
See, I'm trying to think about taking it.
Yes. I should, so this reminds me of a point that I used to make years ago. You should be able to hear the thrust of the hand insertion.
So it's that
It's
abrupt.
very abrupt, because the harder you do it, the less impact there is on the back of the arm. So like, it should sound like my feet like that. That's just, you'll hear that. You hear that?
I need another little switch.
Yeah. Because you'll hear it on the way down too. So I'm very much letting go of it and then re-grabbing it. Because you have to let go so that your hand, which is all the way at the top end of the handle, I gotta get back to there, finger and thumb in the middle. Finger, thumb here, inefficient. Break down at the wrist. So that's why I'm all the way to the top right handle. I gotta get back to the middle. My thumb needs to get to here, here to here. So if I grip too soon, if I just stay gripped, my thumb's way up here. I need it to be A, all the way hanging, B, there. yeah, that it's like we haven't talked a whole lot about that today, but that first intent of index finger and thumb. Oh yeah, please. So that was a more active insertion of the hand.
That's very, yeah.
Oh yeah. 2 days after I work with you, I'll be doing something in the garage or like cooking dinner. And I'll touch right here. And I'll go, oh, grandpa. Grandpa.
You're almost extended as I have, probably.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a long time. I used to have this giant lump here. Ashley probably remembers it. And this little lump of skin. It was a growth, essentially, of scar tissue. I went and got my thumb looked at because I had nerve problems here. And I pulled my sleeve up to show my arm and my hand. The hand doctor was like, what the hell is that? He's like, I've never seen something like that. I said, actually, that's not why I'm here. I'm here for my thumb. He was like, well, you know, you guys that hurt.
They're kind of close together.
Yeah, yeah. This was because I had a newborn baby. There's a specific thumb diagnosis. It's basically you open a can where you have a newborn baby, you lift up a baby like this under their armpits, which is how you kind of lift up a child.
Yeah.
That pressures this tendon right here. So it got to the point where there was a 3-month span where I couldn't do anything with those 8 kilos. This electrical pain right here. It had nothing to do with this. It was, having it, the first 8 months of having a baby, lifting. It was terrible. He goes, well, why is that there? I said, I do this sport called kettlebell sport. I rest, I showed him the video. He's like, he was a standard doctor. He was like, that looks pretty dumb. And I was like, yeah.
It's like, Doc, it hurts when I do this.
Yeah,
Well, then
exactly.
don't do this.
Well, then don't do that.
That'll be $29.95.
Exactly. So, so you
I'll pay $29.95.
right. Go back to hold bell, push through, come back. Push through, come back. Find that desirable angle to where the forearm bones and the handle are as parallel as possible. Remember that from day one? I kind of had you grab like this and then push through, and then the bottom of the arm is touching as much glue as possible. So doing it up here is not that helpful. Getting the ulnar and radius to be parallel to the handle is how to practice it, because then it becomes, it's easy to transition that to actually standing up and doing cleans. That should be the start of all of your kettlebell workouts. That. Right? Do it again. Good, so bypass the going. Yes. That. Yes. But you can't have the pressure squeezing that part of the skin. It's gotta bypass that. Then you hook the fingers. That's paramount. And then see where your thumb. This is why you hired me. But you too north. Bring it back. Bring the whole carriage this way. Your grip. Yes. That thumb and index finger has to be direct.
Middle of the bell.
The middle of the bell. If it's north of it by 2 inches, that's not the way to practice. That's a good insertion. That's a better idea.
You should pull up on it while I'm doing it.
Yeah, almost like feel like
Simulate the weight of it.
Yeah, exactly. Like 90% effort going up and then relax and shoot. That's a super hard one to get. Remember, it's down, back up as you push it away from you. You're going down, drop. I want down, up, release, yes, and then just don't pronate like you just did. Hey, that, yeah. He says lovingly.
Fine, I get it. Or maybe I don't.
No, you're very coachable. Like, you get it. That was it. That was a really good example of it. You dipped and then released
So
the dip
don't let it start rolling until you're coming back
until you
out.
come back up and lean backwards. It's so much. Coffee time. You are on the van. That's a great stopping point. Absolutely. Send me more videos.
I will.
Probably have
23 minutes.
5 minutes. You gotta change my UPS mode at work. That's really opposite.
Oh, gotcha.
Boo.
Boo!
Yeah, thanks Lily for yesterday.
Michael, I appreciate you providing me another lash of the past. Alright, let's go 2 minutes on that, Ash. Oh. So Lily was sick yesterday?
I mean, so no, it turns out, but she was up like every 30 minutes for the second half of the night, but
Yeah.
I was also up every, and decided at 4:30 she was up for the day. And so she just was like wrecked. I thought she had an infection, brought her in. And she and Archer had the splash pad on. Some they were literally just like putting their ears over the fountain. Like that's not a good idea. But like try to reason with a 2-year-old. She was like, okay, and then kept doing it.
My wife does it every day
It's normal.
with me.
Oh, try to reason with you?
Yeah.
Trying to reason with a 2-year-old.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, it's not very
So you got
successful.
about to do with frogs today.
No.
So no ear infection, and ejector for strap as well, no strap. And just had like a really big ball of earwax in her ear. I was probably like putting a lot of pressure
Yeah.
on the eardrum when we go to sleep. And it made sense because like I gave her Tylenol and Motrin overnight, like
Yeah.
she didn't touch it. And I was like, what is going on?
Yeah, Sparrow's got a weird thing right now. She says her ear, she can't hear out of her left ear,
Huh.
but she's,
She has swimmer's ear? Has she been in the pool?
yeah.
No. Or
But,
you
like-
could get it from the bad, but I doubt she'd be bad. Like, where she'd be submerging her head for that long.
No, like, we're like, let's take the weekend and then Monday, and like, she hasn't talked about it for 3 days.
Right.
She's not in any pain, she's goofy as she always is.
Right.
So we're kinda like, I don't know,
Sometimes you just get like, because of like the allergies or the
Yeah.
digestive system that went through you,
Yeah.
your ear can get kind of wacky.
yeah. It's a
Because
good
you're
job.
very sensitive.
We'll do some stairs to these things.
Okay.
Maria, look at that outfit. Good job. Red, pink. You too.
video's still going.
I'm like,